Hello and well met. Welcome to the second archaeology game of the Dungeon Scrawlers, featuring some of the Westgate Irregulars and some of their supporting cast. That is our mods who play some excellent NPCs. Our DM this evening will be Rhiannon. Good to have you, Rhiannon. I'm really looking forward to this. Before I toss it around to people to introduce themselves, I want to tell you about our sponsor. That is Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, a strategy game that unites iconic Dungeons and Dragons characters from novels, campaigns, and popular shows into one epic adventure, including Farida from the Brimstone Angels novels, the Champions of the Hall from the Drizzt novels, the various characters from shows that you watch and enjoy online. The game is available for PC and Mac on Steam and web. See, I looked up and updated this. It's on the Epic Games Store. It's on Google Play. It's on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, iPad, iPhone, and all Android devices. All things that go beep, beep, boop, boop. And collect yourself some champions. You will find a code down in the doobly-doo down below. And if you use that, you can get yourself a free Electrum Chest. Get yourself something shiny while you watch the game. And on that note, take it away, Randy.
Yeah, that one character from that one show, my favorite.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Randy. I'm a writer. I play with the Dungeon Scrawlers, and we got a couple of sponsors. Our lovely forever favorite sponsors. In addition to Idle Champions, we have Norse Foundry Dice. So if you want like serious dice, like heavy dice, the kind that you feel like you're getting your exercise in while you're rolling your dice, Norse Foundry, get your metal dice from them. That's norsefoundry.com. And if you are, eco-conscious and you like, a variety of pretty dice, and also some really cool like dice, trays, dice, scrolls, all other cool things. Yeah, there you go. Check out Phoenix Dice, phoenixdice.com. And yeah, roll with luck. May luck be with you. Allie.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Pitchford. I will be playing Shay today, which will be nice. Also, I do have to add no Illyra in Idle Champions. What the heck, guys? What the heck?
I don't know what Idle Champions is doing, but she's available, so
yeah. Anyway,
she'd make a really cool character in Idle Champions, I think.
Just think about it, guys. Yeah?
I mean, rogues are pretty great.
In any case, I'm an author, game designer, and yeah, that's about it for me for now, because that's all I gotta say. So yeah, Doug.
Okay,
go Doug.
Doug Meyer of Meyer's Magical Market. I sell various. The character I'm playing tonight is the character I do at my market. So the idea is, his name is Meyer, and he travels the multiverse with his magic item shop, taking around. We guarantee every item in the shop is magical somewhere in the multiverse. Management not responsible for knowing where, what passwords are, what curses might be on it, that kind of thing. So, yep, that's pretty much it for me.
Very cool. Hello, everybody. I'm Joel Everett. I'm usually one of the mods cutting up in chat as Rumpus Imperator. Tonight I will be playing Rumpus Occam, the former military sapper who is now a freelance alchemist, continuing to blow things up for fun and profit.
As you do.
All right, and back over to you, Rhiannon.
Yep. So I'm Rhiannon Held. I write urban fantasies, Rhiannon Held, and space opera under RZ Held. And tonight I will be our DM, and we're doing some archaeology. At some point, I will put a link in the chat if you decide that this archaeology is super cool and you want to see more archaeology in a fictional world, in this case, archaeology of werewolves. Then you can pick up my book called Ladies' Children, because it's got a archaeologist who is doing archaeology of werewolves in that one.
Nice.
So I like to do a little bit of a explanation before we start. I went to actually a puppet show, and the guy was saying, this folktale I'm going to tell has a quern, and here's what a quern is, because he's talking to the little kids. And he said, I don't have a quern prop for my puppets. So what I'm going to show you is going to be a windmill, because a quern is a hand grinding method. but I'm a teacher, and so I don't want you to think that there is a kind of windmill named court.
Nice.
So when last we went to Myth Drannor, we saw sort of more of an academic style of archaeology, which is where you are looking for something and you want to find out more about it. So you want to specifically find something to excavate that will tell you about that thing. And in this one, so we don't repeat ourselves, because you can go on YouTube, you can watch the old one, find out all about excavation. We're going to do more what's kind of compliance archaeology. And that maps onto a fantasy world a little more strangely. So I wanted to give viewers a little bit sort of more of a info about compliance archaeology is when developers are legally required to check that any development that they're doing is not going to harm often the environment, but then also what are called cultural resources. And so there's a shift in focus because we're not trying to find something, we're trying to check and see if anything is there. And if something is there, we want to find out enough about it to know whether it's something that needs to be protected, it's something that's not that old or very common, or, you know, et cetera, in which case, like, actually, we don't need to protect it. Development can go forward. And so the strategies for doing that are actually quite different often than sort of academic archaeology. So that's a little bit more of what we're going to be seeing in our Myth Drannor adventure. So to set the scene, Myth Drannor, city of myth and legend, and now a city of contrasts. It's incontrovertibly in ruins. But as all of you approach, there are ruins and there are ruins. There are the ruins of where the Netherese city smashed into it, leaving rubble, and things are have crashed over, and it's just churned up, and it looks so violent, and very little sort of the sense of how the city once was has survived. And that happened relatively recently. It has not grown over. On the other side, there's a sort of in-between zone where things have been growing over a little bit, but there's this sense that somebody came through and made this kind of into a park. It's got kind of a feeling of like there's foundations and stuff, but they're in a big field, and stuff's grown over a little bit, but like the stones that were going to fall on anybody, like we took those down. There's no like jagged metal pieces sticking up for kids to run around and step on. So as you come sort of outwards from where the reconstructed city was, and then the Netherese city fell on it and reduced it to rubble, you get that sort of park-like atmosphere, which is clear people were living here and they didn't rebuild on this spot, but they made this spot still somewhere that's still beautiful to come and experience. And then as you go farther, the forest appears to take over, but that's not entirely the case. The classical Myth Drannor was a gigantic city, and so if you start looking at the vegetation closely enough, you can start to see that there's being created lines in there, sort of the line of maybe a road on the ground, or a foundation, or there's remains of a chimney or something like that, and they stand out because they aren't green and they aren't growing, they're not dirt, they're hard lines and straight angles and all the things that beings make when they start making what's called in my circles the built environment. So I'm going to assume that all of you, for your various reasons, are going to seek out the archaeologists when you arrive in Myth Drannor. Whatever your reasons for wanting to talk to them or work with them or follow behind them or whatever you want to do, we're going to seek them out. So the various disparate people are going to come together, and you're going to approach a group of mostly half elves, but not all, about 15 or 20 of them working together. And right now they are in this sort of parkified area of the classical city, and doing various stuff. But before we sort of look at them, I'm going to get you all to introduce your character, what you look like. As you have all sort of come in, you are running into each other as you approach. So if you want to say hello or whatever you want to do, go for it. So I'm going to pick people at random to introduce their characters if you want. So why don't
Excellent.
Eric, you go first.
Okay, well, Ilra Nathalin is no stranger to any of you. She is, in some ways, the organizing force of the Westgate Irregulars, being their patron, at least in their early days. And she has since retired from public life and is now maybe searching for a new thing to do in the world, and taking a vacation to Myth Drannor seemed like a nice thing to do.
That could be a new thing to do.
She is somewhat between 5 feet and 6 feet, quite pale of skin with vivid yellow golden eyes, midnight blue black hair, and a certain agelessness that comes upon elves when they reach a certain amount of centuries. She is almost at 2 centuries, and she typically wears black all the time and has a parasol because the sun is oppressive. And she has likely arrived in company with one of our other players, right, Allie?
Indeed. Well, definitely arriving with Ilra would be Shay Darksong. She is a tallish elf, certainly between about this similar range. I would say she's about maybe 5'8" the most. But I mean, that could
comparable
be kind of
to
tallish for
Ilra,
now.
slightly
comparable
taller
to
than
Ilra.
her.
Yes. Ashen, like her skin, she's not just pale, her skin is like ash gray, which is unusual, like even for most kinds of elves, with very starkly white hair, few streaks of black in it, and she has the same brightly gold eyes as Ilra, also dressed in black, with a rather notable star-shaped sapphire on a chain around her neck, and who is also likely either huddled under the same parasol or with her own parasol, because the sun.
That's right. That's right.
Randy?
Well, jumping along, you see, at first you might think he's a halfling. He looks like he's kind of a tall halfling, about 4 foot tall, and he's got bright green hair and very vivid purple eyes, and he's clearly dressed for cold weather. He's got a cloak, fur-lined boots, and a half plate that seems forged from something else and has runes glowing on it. And as he's walking along, his cloak sort of twitches and jumps, and you hear sort of a soft giggling from beneath his cloak. And he has a hand crossbow hanging at his side, and he'll walk up to Ilra and say, "Did I hear you looking for something new to do?"
You are one of those charmers, is it?
I'm a chancer. Like to have a bit of fun. All right.
I see. Welcome. She will introduce herself and introduce Shay as well.
Oh,
Nice to meet you.
well, it's nice to meet you as well. I have to admit, being from the Dale, I've not met many of your kind, but you're drow, are you not?
In part.
Oh.
I'm a few
Interesting.
things.
You might have heard we had this famous drow up north as well, but I've not met many that were friendly. Are you friendly?
I'd like to consider myself friendly.
Well, great. So am I.
If you are referring to the one I think you're referring to, he is an excellent dancer, although he will not admit it.
Oh,
No one's ever referring to the one I think they're referring to.
perhaps later we can compare dance moves.
Well, there's plenty of others to be friendly with as well. So,
Excellent.
Who's this?
Doug,
All right. Comes strolling in, somewhat looks a lot like this. Human, about indeterminate middle age, wearing a head or a circlet with a blue dragon eye in the middle of it. Carries himself, he's mostly in a blue regalia, has a gray cloak on when he first comes into town. You see that he had just finished parking a wagon. A very interesting wagon. It's self-driving. There's no horse on the front of it. It just drives itself as it goes down the road. But he parks it on the edge, doesn't want to bring it into the middle of everything yet. And just kind of struts in and, hello, welcome. My name is Meyer. I run Meyer's Magical Market. I am here to see what we can do with the great runes of Myth Drannor. I've heard there's magic to be found here. Some maybe even can just take it. At least that's what my friend, maybe you've heard of him, Marcember Jones. Yeah, he said that if you find any old magic items, you can just take them and theoretically give them to a museum or something. But, we'll figure that out.
A hardened capitalist. Welcome. Good to make your acquaintance.
Joel?
Okay, and Rhombus is the last to approach, apparently. He is a Chandathan male, probably around 30, bit of a heavier build. He is wearing a dark gray cloak and grayish-green studded leather armor, and a large floppy sun hat. He has a crossbow across his back, a walking staff that he is using as he walks along, and a large bag at his hip. And his front is covered with a couple of bandoliers of various vials and containers for various alchemical apparati.
Well, what does it mean to be a Chandathan male?
Chandath is a realm of big folk, my friend.
Oh, so you're
Humans.
big.
On the larger
Well.
side.
Maybe he could join us in the dancing later.
Do you
Someone's
dance,
getting-
alchemist?
Someone's getting ahead of themselves.
Get enough meat in me, we'll see.
Oh,
Wonderful. This is so easy, Shay. They just offer promises without enticement.
I know.
And Shay and Lady Nathalin, a pleasure to see you both again. What brings you
Indeed.
out? What brings you out this way?
Curiosity.
I was about to say the same.
I have recently reawakened my wanderlust, as it were. I wish to see the world once more. I have been cooped up in Westgate for too long.
samesies.
You've been cooped up
Oh.
in Westgate?
Well, no, I was cooped up in the Dale, which is far worse, trust me.
I see. This is
So-
an odd place for all of us to gather, but perhaps destiny has brought us to this place.
Have you heard of a mythal? I came here looking into something called a mythal. Have you heard of that?
A mythal?
Oh, is it mythal?
I really don't know.
Another person said it was mythal.
So,
No, it's
I've
not-
only ever
yours
read.
yet.
I've only ever read the word. I have no clue.
Hillary just smiles
Oh.
and keeps heading toward the toward where the archaeologist is
Oh,
supposed to
you.
be.
Do you
Shay
sell
will.
mythals or mythals?
I do not
Or-
yet, but if I can get my hands on one, who knows? Have to
You
determine the price of it too.
Do you sell a mythal?
They tend
I-
to be
I
rather
sell all the
large.
myths,
Keep
yes.
that in mind.
Oh,
Shay
okay.
will call back as she walks off.
So it's a real estate deal.
Shay, you'll know, Yang Yang, if you can put up the older map, the number 1 rather than number 2. I'm going to say that Artemisia, after the last time the Westgate Irregulars came to Myth Drannor, sort of like filled you in on some of the details.
Okay.
So she showed you or gave you a copy of this map that's actually over by the rebuilt city.
Okay.
To just sort of give you a sense, like the stuff on that map is still within visual distance. Like they've moved a little ways from it.
Okay.
And but where the archaeologists are now, Yang Yang, if you can put up map 2, the archaeologists are kind of down at the south, right on the side of the big empty space.
Hey.
Where no one's ever done anything.
Yep.
Oh
they're,
yeah.
they're getting there. So I presume everybody is coming up to these archaeologists. When they see you coming, 2 of them, 2 half-elves, come out to meet you. And Shay will recognize these 2 from what Artemisia described from last time. Their names are Janara and Nissa. Janara is a older woman, sort of middle-aged, very weathered, brown skin. Looks like she works outdoors all the time, loves it, takes no nonsense. Nissa, a little bit younger, very sort of round, kind of cute features, even though she's an adult. She's not young, but very cute features, very peppy, optimistic. So they come up to you, and Nissa is writing in a field notebook based on what some of the other people are doing. And Janara, she's got a machete on her hip. It looks like a machete that probably she'd be using for a purpose, not like fighting with it. But she definitely sort of like is looking you over. And so she comes up and she's like, "All right, what do you want?"
We are here to learn, of course,
Yes.
and
Quite.
to assist as we may.
Oh, that's
No.
what she said.
Oh, absolutely.
Lady Artemisia told me quite a bit about that last excursion out this way.
That statue. We had to wall off that room where they found the man she was with, the long nose. He set
Right.
off its
Ah,
magic,
yes.
and we had to wall off that little room where the statue was for weeks.
We just
It set
nod
us-
sagely.
It set us back in our excavations, and then now we can't even excavate anymore because of the funding. And
I had gotten word of that, yes. The incident with the statue. Although I thought you had funding.
Janara, it seems like she's like searching for tact and she doesn't have it. And so Nissa sort of like folds up her notebook and is like, our funding was primarily Aglarondan. We were researching the half-elves, but it is very difficult to find that signature archaeologically, and it is not a cheap proposition, having to pay all the wizards to keep things safe, and trained archaeologists, and very difficult. So we went to the elves, especially Summerhome, and so they asked that we research the mythal from classical Myth Drannor, the one that fell in the Weeping War rather than the reconstruction in the 14th and 15th century. And so we've had to set aside the excavation for now. And so we're doing more of a survey to see, and you can see that she sort of is getting into like her like nerdery, that she's like, oh, well, we had to do this, but actually it's really cool. The mythal, it was a sort of dome shape, and the casters, they cast it, but it would encounter the ground around the edges, one presumes. And so we were hoping that we could find where the edge hit, and then maybe there would be some kind of evidence or sign of the magic there, maybe some sort of trace, because obviously the original casters are long gone, the original spell fell, but if there was some kind of trace that we could then take back to have wizards research it, then maybe we could find something about that particular kind of mythal that has been lost now. She's so happy.
Fascinating.
Oh, is
interesting.
is Survey here? Are they a knight?
Oh, you see, it's a whole process. And
It's a process.
And Master
Of
Vey
course.
was part of that.
Process.
I'm sorry, Survey was part of that.
Process.
Just a heavy sigh from Shay. Just like,
Well, if you need to clear some stuff, I can help you with that. And he casts mold earth and moves like 5 feet, digs a hole instantly. Look. Oh, I'll put it back, and he gently moves it back.
How
I'm sure everything's
serendipitous.
fine. Didn't break anything, I swear.
How serendipitous. I have recently retired from my civic activities and have a certain amount of coin that I was hoping to invest in a worthy cause. Perhaps I can assist you.
Of course. And Janara is looking still dubious, but sort of a little bit like, well, all right. And so Janara looks at all of you and she says, well, we do need to clear and we do need to perform the survey. We will do the all testing probes, so don't disturb the surface. But if all of you, and she's like looking at each one of your eyes, can follow directions and not pocket any artifacts, and just so you know, I'm sure it's going to make you very disappointed, but there are no magical items left here that you're going to be able to find just walking around.
you really did deal with Sturge, didn't you?
Because
What about? Go
it
ahead.
has been centuries and centuries of people looking just as you are to try to pick things up, not to mention the later conflicts when the magic was drawn upon and used up so that the magical objects are no longer magical, and the wearing away of time. So what I'm saying is that don't do any looting. You won't find anything good anyway. Trust me on this.
Totally reasonable. But when you're talking about funding, have you ever considered maybe selling off some of the items you found? I mean, a good broker could find a museum, other historians that want to do research on them. You know, even if it's finding something as simple as a workshop with the designs and materials they use, that could still be valuable information to some buyers. You know, totally within the keeping the historical value, of course.
After it's properly studied, of course.
Absolutely.
Capitalism.
We would never sell any of the items. However, it is our hope that when we study them, we could perhaps find information about how they were crafted that then others could benefit from.
Totally reasonable.
Of
And
course.
that's the kind of thing I'm really looking for. I joke about it, but I don't actually pick up items and sell them off. I make sure I know who the proper owners are, compensate them, and then sell them off.
That sounds much
How-
less profitable.
For all of us,
admirable.
I try to make it so that everybody is mutually benefited from it.
Aren't all the owners dead though?
No. I mean, as in the survey group in this case, because they've
Oh.
claimed the land that they're doing the survey on. That would be who I consider the owners currently.
We aren't the owners. We are merely studying the descendants. Whenever possible, we would like to return the information that we get from studying to the descendants of those who lived here. It's not always clear who they were, given the many centuries in between, but we are not by right of digging it up, the owners of any of this. We are merely trying to do our best to further knowledge in our world for all beings, and especially for the descendants of those who lived here.
If we're,
Indeed,
talking,
things,
if we're talking elves, that's only a couple of generations, right?
things that have gone
few.
before are not gone, only misplaced.
But do you? I'm gonna have to talk to my friend. You probably know him, Marcember Jones. He seemed to have a totally different idea about that. But that's okay. I trust you. You're the one here.
We do not say that name.
Oh, noted.
Hi.
Ooh.
So the mythal, it's over here then, is it?
Well, if you can find it, we will be very grateful.
Okay, what does it look like?
Well, if you can figure out what the traces of it might look like now, we will be very grateful.
Oh,
As the sarcasm increases, Nissa
From
like
what does it smell
sort of
like?
like puts a hand on
Oh.
Janara's shoulder and
So
tells
are
her
there-
to go back to working with the people.
So are there any
people.
traits that we could be looking for that would help identify it?
So Nissa is going to look at all of you and be like, okay. So as you can see over here, we have done the pedestrian survey already, and we are digging some probes. And you'll see that what the workers are doing is they each have a shovel, and they're digging about sort of yay big down in a circle to sort of just see what's there underneath the ground. Yang Yang, if you can put up the screen picture, they're in partners. So one partner is digging, and then the other one has a shaker screen. So there's part that you hold, and then there's legs that stand on the ground, as in the picture, and they're shaking the sediments that's coming out of the shovel probe, and then they're sorting through it. And then there's a little sort of like cataloging station where they're taking little bits and pieces of whatever, and looking at that and that sort of thing. Nissa turns to you and she's like, okay, here's the map. It's the map with like a big blank spot. And she says, so the mythal covered the city, and so we want to find the edge where it would have impacted the ground. However, it's not very easy to find out where the edge of classical Myth Drannor was, because it's so overgrown around then. And if you go far enough north, you hit the Polyandrium, which is a burial ground. There was at one point a big monument to a battle there. The monument's long gone, but we found some of those tombs and tomb entrances, that sort of stuff. So that's too far. But in between, what we could use having all of you do is go out there and do some survey and see what we can find. So if you are all willing to follow my directions, she's trying to be like Janara. She's trying to be like, follow my directions, but instead she's like, follow my directions.
Of course. I shall
Cool.
follow her directions.
Sure.
You don't have to worry about me.
I'll follow her following your directions.
So she'll gesture you to follow, and she'll take you out, and she'll pick sort of an area of ground. So we're leaving sort of the field type parkland, and we're getting into more of the kind of forested underbrush kind of area. And she'll say, what I'd like you to do is look at the person next to you, and so she's sort of like laying you out in a line, so there's about sort of 25 feet. I don't know what that would be in realms terms, but about 25 feet between each of you, so that you can see each other through the underbrush, but you're not like right on top of each other. And she says, okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to walk straight, and you're going to look at the ground. And if you need to clear some vegetation, if you have Well, so Janara has a machete, but if whatever you have that you're willing to sort of clear vegetation away with, we want you to look and see if you can find anything that beings have built. Look for cobblestones from a road. Look for a foundation. Look for boards from something that was built. Look for bricks. Anything that a being has built. And call out to me, and I will come and see. And so the idea is that we will sort of cover the area, survey the area, and we will start to find different foundations or roads or aspects of the city, and we can sort of start to map it.
Cool.
Sounds very promising.
And as
I shall take one of those machetes.
Well, we only have enough for our workers, so.
I see.
Mm.
I shall pull out my fabulous sword.
She wasn't going to suggest you have your stabbing sword to use on vines, but
I'm not sure the rapier is going to be much good for that, but
No, the rapier
Yeah.
is made of Hizikar. It just generates heat naturally. So I could set everything on fire if she doesn't mind.
I'm going to assume you
Maybe
don't want to
not.
have
probably not looking for that.
damaging
So,
versions. Yeah.
Shay will just kind of place a hand on her arm. Illyra, dear, and hand her a knife.
Yes, I was getting carried away.
Actually, are there any particularly large chunks of vegetation that need to be removed?
it's all kind of like underbrush, so wherever you pick, you can.
Okay, well, I have something that I think might help with this. He reaches into his bag and pulls out a metal canister with a handle on the top, with a little hose made of what appears to be some kind of gut, and a handle on the front. He twists the handle, pumps it a couple of times, and starts spraying everywhere. And in so doing, he casts Blight.
Oh.
Oh,
Is this
clear
spray
off.
orange by chance?
Could be. This started out as a toenail fungus remover. Unfortunately, it also took off the toenails.
Oh.
So
Oh
we're,
boy.
I think that's probably going to clear a whole lot of area, though we might want to let it evaporate before we go through.
Nissa is sort of like, oh no. Does it harm stone?
No, I don't think.
Would it harm any...
Primarily plants. It's
Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess there wouldn't be much wood left anyway. So, okay.
it'll be fine. And then once the vegetation is clear, I guess we get online and do our search. Or-
Yeah. So are you clearing mostly in your line, or are you clearing for other people as
I'll
well?
clear as much as a fourth level spell slot will clear. So, looking for the big stuff first in the area we're going to be searching.
Sure. So since the vegetation has been sort of cleared away, I'm going to have you all roll investigation, but with advantage, because you sort of made it a little bit easier for yourselves.
Well, I do want to say that Illyra can also just touch living things and they'll just crumble to dust. So, I can clear vegetation pretty
Okay.
easily. I just,
That's true. All right.
She's not particularly happy about it, but she can do it.
Doesn't necessarily like showing that off. I've got a
Right.
23,
I got a
But
two
my-
30s.
but my passive is 25.
Jeez. Yeah, I got a 16, so
Don't want to brag, but I got an 8.
Here.
That flower, it's super pretty.
It is. Oh my
was.
gosh.
don't give that
Alright.
to me, thank you.
No, he picks a couple
What
of
am I?
offer.
Let's see. What was I rolling again? I just pulled my
Investigation.
sheet up. Investigation. Perfect. Not Shay's strongest. But let's see here. I'll roll my. Why are you doing this to me?
Aiden will just offer the flower to the Chandelierian.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Tucks it in a
There we
buttonhole.
go. Well, that's not great. I got a 3. Jay's a bit distracted.
There's some forests around
Ilora will
here.
do that. Yep.
Lots of trees.
I mean, yeah, Ilora
Yeah,
would do that.
It is probably my fault. Like I'm like this knife isn't all that. This is getting a little frustrating. Oh no! What have I done? What have I done? Mascara waterfall. What have I done?
Oh.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Life has
You're okay.
changed.
You're okay.
I'll put the gloves back on. Oh wait, no, this is useful.
So Meyer and Ravis, from sort of different, we'll say that you're next to each other, so you sort of spot the same type of thing. You see the start of a road that is actually really smooth. Like this was clearly created with magic once upon a time. And there are like little cracks in it because nobody has kept it up for 6 centuries or whatever. But if you follow it, it goes into kind of a little clearing in the trees, and you can see why you wouldn't see this from a distance because the trees around it are pretty grown up. They've been growing since then, but maybe at the time of the sort of late 14th century reconstruction, somebody has cut down some trees and made kind of a walkway between some rough altars, stone altars. So all of you can come and take a look at them, and I'm not going to make you roll anything because you can take the time you need. But
I flag down Nissa a bit. Ooh, we found something. We found something. We found something. Damn it.
You said to call to me. To me.
Oh, yes. We found a road and some stone stuff. Over there.
So Nissa looks quite happy, and so she comes and she takes some compass readings from landmarks to figure out how far it is, and then she's got in her pocket a knotted string, so she can measure kind of long distances. So she starts the width of the road, and then the different kind of altars, and so she's going to be busy for a little bit, like mapping everything very carefully and precisely down in her field notebook. So for the rest of you, these altars, what it looks like is that they weren't a full temple. That maybe at some point this was some kind of garden or some kind of place where there was an altar for each of the gods from different races, because the best nicest, biggest looking ones are for the Seldarine. So they're all represented. And then there are more sort of like smaller rundown ones that are for the various like human and dwarven gods. And some of those like haven't really been cleared. They're kind of half buried over. And what looks like happened is that maybe in the clearing process that made the park area that we walked through, whenever anybody found something that maybe it was a bit of carving or a bit of broken jewelry or a little bit of stained glass, they would take it, and if it belonged with a symbol of one of the Seldarine, they would place it on these altars that they had sort of discovered from classical Myth Drannor. So it's very sort of a feeling that when they were doing the reconstruction, people were gathering things here and sort of people leaving a few pieces there and a few pieces there to sort of create this feeling of they were still being respectful for things that might belong to these gods. So I'm going to have everybody, if you're looking at them, like you can sort of keep walking if you want, but if you want to look more at the altars, roll me in another investigation.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna concentrate on my dragon eye, so it lets my eye see magical.
I'm gonna check out the altar.
That's a nat 20 for a 30.
I only got a 27 that time.
Damn. Let's
I got
see
the
here.
6.
19.
I do this for a living.
Roll. I got an 11.
Okay. So for the magical detect magic, we'll do that one first.
Okay.
So we are apparently still in where the mythal fell because the magic here is bullshit. It's like the mythal like fell onto the ground, and then like some disconnected bits of the new mythal from the rebuilt city like fell on it too, and they kind of like mixed together and then
Man,
wore
that's giving me
away
a
a little
headache.
bit, but the buried pieces didn't wear away as much as the ones that were out in the open air. And so basically everything is I think what I said last time is it's like the street outside of Frat Row in a university town where it's the sparkle of what was once crushed glass because they've cleaned it up, but you can't clean up like the little pieces, so it's like sparkly from everything that is broken there before. So on the altars themselves, if you can sort of like try to screen out just the general sort of like
Right.
everything glows. The bits and pieces, some of them have that same sort of like residual glow, but there's nothing that looks like the magic is 100% intact. That nobody left anything behind here that was still like working.
Reasonable.
Is there anything where there's a couple of pieces that obviously fit together?
Oh, interesting. With what you rolled, sure, yeah.
Okay. I pick a couple of them up. I go over to Nis and ask, "Would you like me to put these back together?"
She'll take a look and she'll like sort of fit them and say, "Oh, that's very nice. Thank you."
Mending.
Well, Janara would say that we shouldn't, but I mean, it's a very useful cantrip.
But yeah, wouldn't you rather have it intact?
Well, you see, I think that none of these artifacts here on the altars are in situ, unfortunately. But
Bless you.
So what in situ means, you can tell that Nissa like is the one who does the teaching. She's like, wow. In situ means that the last person who used it, it's exactly where they put it down or they dropped it or something like that. When it's not in situ, it means that it has been moved by water or being trampled or an earthquake or anything like that. You know, animals sometimes, burying animals, especially when things are buried. And so clearly these aren't where the people who made them and used them left them, but people have picked them up. But I think it's very interesting, you know, what people have gathered here.
But you're saying it's a different situation.
That's true, yes.
It's out situ. Okay.
So Ilra.
Yes.
Um,
Just looking around at things. I got a 19 on my check. Did I find anything interesting?
well, so what you notice is that there's all altars for the others of the Seldarine, but there is no altar for Erevan Ilisire.
Yeah,
or
okay,
how do
that
you
makes
pronounce it?
sense.
But you can find his symbol.
Yes, probably hidden around here somewhere.
Well, so where it is there's a bench, and it looks like it was originally, if this we're imagining maybe this was some kind of garden or something, it was placed so that people could sit and contemplate or whatever. And it is sort of separate from the altars, so it hasn't been like cleaned up as nice. It's pretty dirty. It's got like graffiti scratched on it. But if you look past the graffiti, the symbol is set into the stone of the bench in colored stone. And it's not entirely clear, like, it must have been by magic because, like, it's not carved or anything. It's just like there's colored stone in the stone, and it's one piece, but it's making the raid star symbol. And if you start reading the graffiti, the one that's sort of like closest to the symbol says, "Your ass goes here."
Yes.
Sit down there. See what happens.
I'd be
I was
careful.
expecting Elminster was here.
Yeah, of all the
No, okay.
people,
Aiden,
people
would you
here-
mind coming
know.
here for a moment?
Oh, hi.
Yes.
What can I do for you?
I think
Hmm.
this is a bench, but I'm not certain. Would you try it?
Whoa.
Jay is just trying not to laugh right now. It's like very,
Well, let's
very
see.
hard to keep a straight face.
A bench, right? Do you
Yes.
use benches the same way you use benches? Is there something special about a bench you're not sure about? I don't.
Well, we are elves.
So, does that mean you, I don't know, sit on your head, or do you like lay down on? You want to lay down on it, and then well, no, I guess probably not. Let's see. We could. Well, what do you want me to do exactly?
Sit there.
Oh, sit. Sure. Oh,
What language is the graffiti in?
He really overthought
Elvish.
this, didn't he?
Well, I mean, if it's just sitting you want, I don't understand why you can't just sit yourself. But sure, he'll
Humor her.
he'll lean over it, and from under his cloak, a little stream of pixies will flow, and then
Oh God.
kind of form like a hand
Oh.
shape and press on the bench.
You're doing a bench press?
I am doing a bench press.
Oh.
Does anything happen?
Nope.
Okay. They'll giggle and flip back under his cloak, and he go, okay, turn around and whoop. Well, it certainly seems to be a bench.
Long stretch of silence is nothing.
I can't say as whether I'm relieved or disappointed.
A little of both, I think.
What were you hoping it would be?
Big friend and
Worry
enter.
about that.
Oh, does it fly? Wait, fly. Does anything happen?
Has he stood up yet, or is he's still
He's
sitting?
sitting. He's sitting on the bench. He says,
Oh.
"Fly."
Sorry. Maybe
Perhaps
it's a
it's
little
warm-
warm,
warm
or
my
maybe that
butt.
was the sun,
Yes.
like the
Oh,
stone,
nice.
and maybe it's a little bit warm,
I
but
think it's a
also
heated
it
bench.
was
That's nice.
was in the sun.
Perhaps its magic has waned in the many centuries that it has waited.
I look on the under. Is it two legs, like a normal bench, or is it a solid? Okay. I bend down and look at the underside.
What are you doing down there?
as you're
looking at the
mo-
bench.
Oh, sure you are.
as you're moving around, you notice that like actually it's like really clean and like pretty. No graffiti on it, just this pretty like stone pattern on the top of it. It's a very pretty bench. It wasn't dirty at all earlier, apparently.
Is it fake dirty? He rubs on the dirt. Does it just come off easily?
Well, no, there's no dirt.
Oh.
It's
No, on the
totally
top.
clean now.
Oh, the entire bench is.
Yeah.
No.
No graffiti, no dirt.
Significantly
Interesting.
cleaner, but the statues are not the same way. The statues are weathered and dirty.
I mean, so the altars, they're as they were. So the human and dwarf ones, they're pretty dirty. The other ones are like a little bit cleaned, but nobody's been around for a few years. So the
Aw.
bench is the only thing that's changed.
It just likes to be used. That's nice.
And does my detect magic see anything different about this bench versus everything else laying around here?
No.
No?
Ooh, are you a singing bench? Does it sing? No. Are you a walking bench?
Can I roll a religion check to see what I know about Erevan?
Sure, yeah. I will lean on others to
Because
provide you
Joel
with details.
does not know. Yeah, I got
sure.
an 8.
Okay.
So
Aravan sounds like an elfin name.
That's to me.
Okay. Ilra will speak on this. Aravan Alessara, the god of mischief and trickery, the Seldarine, an ancient trickster entity, and one who has been involved in my life at various times. It's strange. I've been so long away from the faith of Aravan, but I found his symbol strangely reassuring. What is wrong with me? Anyway.
Oh, there was a last back in the day of it. Oh, it was not good, but I just kept. Every year we end up at some point getting back together. It happens.
Well, I can think of a certain someone's relationship that sound like that.
well, I'll pull the knife off my belt and I'll tap the underside of it and the legs with the pommel to see if any of it sounds hollow. Nothing. Solid stone. Okay.
So is Aiden still sitting on it?
Who pat the bench and say maybe if more people get on it, it'll do something even better. No.
'Cause if
No,
you
okay.
move from where you were originally sitting,
Mhm.
actually the graffiti is not all gone.
Oh, yeah. You shift over to make room for someone.
Wait. So I'm sorry. The graffiti disappeared when he sat down.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he sat down, and then it got a little warm, and then it was suddenly not such like that you could notice, but between when you looked at it one time and then you looked at it the next time, it was clean. There was no graffiti. It looked all like cleaned up. And when Aiden finally gets off, actually the graffiti is still there, only it doesn't say what it said originally. It says, why look at benches when you can look at tombs?
Fair enough.
Sounds like an invitation.
Sounds like someone has a bit of an attitude.
I sit down on it again and then stand up and see if there's a new message.
Let's see.
Why are you still standing here?
Sounds tricky to me.
I think that when you stand up, there's no graffiti, and you can't even see like how there could have ever been. Like it's really weird. Like maybe you imagined it.
Did Nissa see any of this?
No, she's measuring.
Okay.
At least it didn't animate and buck you off.
Yeah.
Oh, that might have been fun.
Right, so Nissa, and I'll just go ahead and explain to her what we just saw, written in Elvish, and tell her the 2 pieces of legible graffiti we saw, and say something maybe wants us to go check out a tomb.
So she writes it down, but you're getting very strong side eye.
We promise not to be tomb raiders. That's a totally different thing.
Right. Everything will be cataloged.
I mean, we didn't hire you, so if you want to go and check out the tombs, we can't stop you. I'll probably still come see if I can do any mapping on the way. It's past
Mapping,
where we were
Damage
looking,
control.
but it's still we have a sort of cordoned off area where we have the wizards. We were able to hire 2 of them, not just one.
Fancy.
Monster repelling spells, so it should be reasonably safe. But I mean, those tombs were looted. Like she sort of gestures to one of the human god altars, and it's got all the sort of like so and so was here kind of like terrible graffiti. Little scratched pictures of a piece of anatomy that you can guess which one. All that sort of
Classic.
So, I mean, there's not a lot to see there, but
I
you're
thought-
welcome.
Well, but something wants us to go there, and I
You
mean,
know-
you can't pass up an invitation like that. Come on.
And Shay
Let's go check
mentioned
it out.
that's what you had said before that other long-nosed guy went in there, right?
I imagine if the mythal came down and went down below the ground, it might be easier if you're walking down a passage to find the edge of the mythal than
Ooh, that's a good point.
in the middle of a jungle.
That's a good point. The tombs would be better preserved than this area that's been out in the weather for centuries.
I mean, the mythal ended before the burial ground, but we can look on the way if you want. She's not going to stop you.
All right.
Does
she's
she
coming-
seem
and she's
to want us
accompanying
to go
us?
somewhere else?
Yeah,
we're
she'll accompany you.
So we are switching from mythal to tomb is what we're doing. We're not. Okay, sounds good. Let's do it.
I'm
Look for
going to
anything.
keep my
I mean, I am
magic
curious.
detection on just to see if I can see where the mythal is ending while we're walking.
I mean, it does sort of about halfway between the call it the Walk of Altars. Between there and then where you're beginning to see some of the sort of entrances to the various tombs. About halfway, the magic does kind of step down, but it's not like a clear line. It's not a delineation. You have sort of 200, 100 feet of where it's sort of gradually stepping down. So within there somewhere. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you say the wizards are doing magic to try to keep the monsters away, does that include Barrow Wights, Bale Norns, regular Wights, any of that stuff, or are we just kind of on our own to see if that happens?
Well, so you are totally correct. There were actually a number of Bale Norns, at least historically that we know were in Myth Drannor tombs. However, we have never encountered one because of the absolutely just everywhere looting. Perhaps you think I was joking, but the tombs are what every person who comes here thinks immediately that they are going to go and loot. So they have been cleared out.
They've been looted for 5 editions now, so
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yes, the Myth Drannor was that legendary place that every adventurer wanted to get something of their hands on. Really, though, I'm honestly more curious about the city itself. Never actually been back.
Back? Were you
Now-
here before?
Well, the rebuilt city. I was born here ish over there. She'll motion to like in the direction of the rebuilt portions. I'd just be like, supposedly I was told.
You were kind of young then.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
now,
Ah,
you
yes,
meant-
this is
Wait, so you were young when you were born? That's unusual.
now,
This is sort of homecoming, is it not?
Something like that.
Vanessa, you mentioned about something about an incident with a statue. Did that happen over in the direction of the tombs, or the?
The long right.
The what?
The Sturge, the guy with the long nose.
Oh,
Like
all right.
Sturge? Oh.
Mm.
He looked like a human. I wasn't sure.
Okay.
He was with a whole group, some half elves and an elf. The wolf elf. I never did get to talk to him as much as I wanted to.
Ooh.
Right.
So that was it was in a below a tower that was in the rebuilt section. That was when we were doing the excavation. So we began in the rebuilt section, but then we sort of went below it to try to get at the classical city that they had built on top of at that point. It was in a room off a wine cellar, and that had been, it looked like, abandoned at the time of the Weeping War. It was an amazing find, and then the magic, and we couldn't study it. It was so frustrating.
God,
I can imagine.
So Nisa, we were told. I mean, when I'm asked to do a job, I like to complete the job. And we were told to like find the mythal, but then Ilera this bench is telling us to go to some tombs. Is the god of chaos and hanky wanky? Like, should we be listening to him?
Hanky. Okay.
Perhaps.
Either
Perhaps
that or
we
he's
should,
having.
or perhaps we
She's
shouldn't.
not sure how to deal with it with PCs.
I
Or
don't know. What do you
perhaps-
think, Nissa? Should we?
I think that if you are so curious about the tombs, you are welcome to go and see all the rude pictures graffitied on the walls, and then you can come back and actually do some useful work with finding the mythal.
Oh,
I don't mind a
my.
nude picture or two. That's pretty good.
I would they be educational? But beyond that, no, I don't think we need to spend too much time staring at graffiti. I've seen it from 1,000 places.
Actually, I know just the one. The Sturge, and she like flicked through her book. His family name was, and she finds it, Lilendril. And actually, one of the empty tombs up there that we did a quick look into them did say it belonged to that family. So we could go to that one if you wanted
Sure.
to see an example.
And
And then
he
you'll
was connected with the incident with the statue? Was it? And there was something about an incident?
Yes,
he-
the statue thing.
Yeah, he activated it. She pulls out a map and she's like, the magic in this area, especially once you get underground, above ground people have either taken it or it's been weathered away, but below ground you get these patches of sort of bad magic, where the mythal coming down, and it sort of mixes in weird ways. And that statue had some bad magic field, not to be technical, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
that's what we pay the wizards for. And that man activated it, and then it started draining everybody. So as Gennaro was saying, we had to evacuate and seal it off, and then wait for the effects to go down, and we were put behind leaks on our excavation. And
Hmm.
That's got to be
didn't aff-
draining.
It left him alone, though, didn't it?
believe it did. I don't know. I was trying to look at the rest of the contents of the room, which are now lost to me forever. So it was a good thing I took some notes. But
Well-
I suppose it did.
We have a tomb with
If-
funny pictures. Oh, sorry.
If it was a family tomb, and you made some mention that it was tied to his family name, it could have been a defense mechanism.
I was thinking we meant two different places.
were
Yes.
Yes,
The,
Oh,
tomb,
well then
the tomb
perhaps
is tied
I'm
to the
incorrect
same
then.
family.
but it's the same family. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go check it out.
I would be very interested in seeing that.
Sure.
I thought it might be interesting.
Sure.
You're not going to find anything, but it might be interesting.
You never know. What
Maybe
could go
we'll see-
wrong?
Maybe we'll see naughty pictures of people with long noses doing fun things. We'll see.
Sure. So let's go.
Yes, so
There we
we're
go.
we're all going into the tombs. I was going to ask. We're slightly early for the break, but I wondered, since we have some travel time over there,
That's
if
a
we wanted
reasonable
to
time. Mhm.
break down. Cool. So Yang Yang, if you will queue up 10 minutes, and then we will be back and take a look into those tombs where there is definitely not going to be anything at all. Nothing.
No, obviously.
All right, don't go away. See you soon.
Hey, welcome
And
back
we're back. Woo.
to archaeology. Doing some survey, or actually, we're leaving survey behind to go look at things.
That's right.
About to delve somewhere where there will be no danger of any kind. Yeah.
In fact, it's
go
promised to be
Yes.
boring.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So Nissa has led you through the vegetation The detect magic is showing less and less, and then we get to the tombs, and there are sort of a variety of different sort of entryways down into them, and there's some above ground mausoleums and various stuff. And as Nissa said, like, this is one of the cleanest parts of the area because like every entrance has been totally cleared out and gone into multiple times, and people have clearly been all around here stomping down the grass, no vegetation, all that kind of thing.
Things an archaeologist loves to see.
Well, means they don't need to look here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Nissa is leading you among the various ones, and there's this one's an underground crypt over the lintel. She points it out, and it does say in Elvish, Lilendrel. And so she is gonna stay up here, and while she's here, she's sort of like looking around at the various different tombs. And Shay, you might note that the next one next door, that Nissa is going and sort of like writing down what it says on it. It on that lintel, it doesn't say a family name. It says Armenthor, which I think Shay would know what that is without even having to roll.
Yeah.
And I can tell you if Allie doesn't.
It's one of those things that's like, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm pretty sure. Okay.
So they were
the
blade singers of Myth Drannor.
Mm-hmm.
Like souped up blade singers.
Yeah, she will definitely kind of fix her attention on that and kind of drift over that way. She is definitely curious. Well, hello there.
Oh, what you looking at?
This here, and she'll motion to the writing. Armenthor.
Oh, Armenthor.
Oh, Armenthor.
Armenthor.
Sure.
I can read it, but I have no idea what it means. Is that a
What does that
family
mean?
name?
It means great defender. It was a rank bestowed upon the sort of defenders of Myth Drannor, the blade singers that rose to a certain degree of distinction. The title did see some return to use, if I recall. At least, before the city had a different city hit it. But
Yes. I knew a man who styled himself an Armenthor once.
Yes.
Did he live up to the title?
Depends on who you ask. If you are asking me, I think the answer is yes.
What sort of style does an Armenthor style?
A dashing one.
Oh,
Doesn't involve
that
a lot of
sounds nice.
sweating, does it?
Armenthor.
Well,
Armenthor. Yeah, it's not so much a style. The Armenthor are simply, their style is blade song.
They're devoted.
Yes, it's generally their prime focus. My father was a blade singer.
There was times when sorry.
One of the very few of Drow heritage to bear that particular art, as I understand it. She's just kind of staring up at the she's like staring up at this thing as she's talking.
Sure.
Yes.
And Nissa says, this is pre-Weepy Moor, if you were wondering about it. All of these in this area are.
What was the Weepy Moor?
Nissa just sort of like looks at you. And then like it's visible on her face. She's like, oh, he's making a joke. And she laughs, and then she turns back to Shay.
It was the war that caused a bunch of weeping.
Well, that makes sense then.
It was the war that led to the downfall of Myth Drannor.
Yes.
The
Ooh.
last time.
It is why we are here,
Yes.
see.
It was.
and not in luxury here.
Yes, the city was practically overrun by an army of demons, if I recall.
Oh, demons.
Myth Drannor was once the most beautiful, most powerful of cities. Alas, such things invite conflict.
Someone always has to go and ruin
I
it.
do.
And your father was a defender here.
When the city was retaken and rebuilt, yes.
Oh.
He and my mother helped, as I was told. Obviously these were the ramblings of an aging human paladin, but so keep that in mind.
Sure.
But I was told that they aided in the efforts to recover the city.
From
But
the
no,
demons.
from the demons, yes.
Oh, wow.
Demons,
That's impressive.
demon elves. I've heard
Oh.
about
That's yeah.
it's a thing. It's a
Ooh.
thing.
Were there demon gnomes? Because that I don't know why, but that just unsettles
I
me to
mean,
think of
there
demon
there
gnomes.
probably are demon gnomes somewhere.
Oh no.
That sounds utterly terrifying.
I don't know why that unsettles me, but it does.
Yes,
So
they wear little red caps. Anyway,
yes, yes.
Ah,
Ooh,
So
okay.
might your father be buried here then?
No.
No. Okay.
Well,
He died far from here, and I buried him myself. So
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear
thank you.
and you were also saying that he was the resettling where our
Yes,
expert here
True.
said that this was pre-Weeping War.
yes. This is the first time the city fell.
that. Oh, right.
long ago, before any of
Mhm.
us were born, or any of our immediate ancestors were born.
So
Yes.
Nissa is gonna sort of keep going, and just tell me which of you are going in which tomb.
I am going to enter the Lilendril crypt.
Okay.
But before I do that, I will pull out a set of crystal goggles and put them on and activate them. And that is a gem of seeing.
Oh.
Mhm.
And do you need light while you're doing that?
No, I can see. Well, now that I've activated that, I can see in normal or magical darkness, invisible creatures and objects, and automatically detect visual illusions, and perceive the original form of a shape changer or a creature that is transformed by magic. And I can
Okay.
see into the ethereal plane.
Well, some of us don't have that right now. I mean,
Mm.
we might be able to get it, but I pull out a long piece of quartz about foot long and says that don't mind me, light, and a beam of light shoots out of the front of the crystal.
Ilra and Shay can both see in the darkness, so
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Aid will pull out a bit of crystalline looking stuff, and I go, and I'm a bit hungry, so he'll eat some crystallized ginger. Okay, where are we doing?
yeah.
I think
we obviously seem rather comfortable away from the sun. So
yeah.
Okay.
Shay can see in darkness ridiculously because Twilight Domain cleric.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I'm one of those ones that I don't get to say I have dark vision.
Yeah.
So
The
Tomb,
races that don't have
I
dark vision?
will.
Sorry, go ahead.
I feel for Shay because I recently buried my father as well. So if she wants to go into this other tomb, I'll go with her. But otherwise, I'd
Oh.
follow the others.
I
Into
think I will take a moment to check out the Armathor tomb.
Okay, I
I'm
wouldn't want to leave
curious.
her alone.
Okay. And Ilra, are you going with Shay?
I don't know. It's nice for her to have new friends. Maybe I'll give them a moment.
Well, if we're going to separate, it's splitting the party. I've heard
Don't
about this
leave me
before.
with him.
So notice
Well,
I have
you'll
this
either
nice
become
little,
friends or you'll kill him. Either
Yeah.
way.
I have this earring here.
Fair.
It's a tooth, it's a blue colored one. I pull out a matching one and I hand it to Shay. This allows magical communication. Yeah, it's my Bluetooth.
Ah,
Oh,
perfect. Oh,
That one hurt even me, Doug.
Yeah, out of character
But yeah.
cringing.
But well done.
Well done, sir.
Oh
It
yeah.
is just
Alright, so-
sending
And I-
stones. So
Yes,
No,
thank
and
you.
I can message, but probably once
Yeah.
we're separated by a bunch of stone, it won't work very well.
and it doesn't help if we have to tell you.
Hmm,
True.
indeed.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
So I'm gonna do the Lilendrill tomb first.
sounds good.
Okay.
So whoever's coming down there. So
Is that where the lads are going?
Yep.
I'll follow them. Why not? Let's do this.
The more the merrier.
Cool.
I guess I'm not a lad.
So,
so you
You're
go
just
in.
a singular lad. They're the lads.
Yes.
And it might be well, I don't know what you're expecting, but it may not be what you're expecting as far as thinking of crypts or that sort of thing. It's a single room, and there's definitely this sort of feeling of like stairs and carved and an entrance, and it says name, and then you get in, and it's just one room. It's one room that maybe should have had a sarcophagus in the center, but there isn't one. It's just empty. And as you look around, it's totally smooth, perfectly smooth, magic smooth, not like sort of chisel smooth stone on all surfaces. And much like the bench, it's got sort of this feeling of sort of old, dry, desiccated leaves in the corner that have blown in, and sort of damp dripping down the walls and leaving sort of stains. And basically, it looks like if somebody was trying to illustrate like a very disappointing thing to find, this would be it.
okay, so no illusions or nothing in the ethereal plane.
Well, so is the detect magic still going?
Yeah,
Yes,
as long
it's-
as I'm concentrating, mine is, and then
oh.
you have your true seed.
And yep, for 10 minutes.
Okay. So there's kind of something on one of the walls.
Okay, I poke it with my staff to see if it's solid. My
Well,
quarter
so
staff, Randy.
if you look at it obliquely, it's more graffiti, but it's
Okay.
kind of harder to see because it's not etched as deep. And then in the sun on the bench, you sort of had the oblique light, so you kind of got to get your face kind of to the wall to be able to see it because it's pretty faint.
Okay, so I get up close enough to read it.
Does your sorry, I probably hit my mic. Does your face touch the wall at all?
If I have to get close enough, if I have to get that close, I will extend it. If it's still blurry when I'm that close, I'll reach out. I'll.
Well,
come back.
it's more about the angle so that you
Okay,
can get
then
the see the
if-
faint.
I mean, you can't not do that, I guess. So sure, my face touches the wall.
The DM, for the record, the DM said, "Are you sure?"
So it's maybe kind of pleasantly warm. Is the stone?
Okay. Can I read the script?
You can. And what it says is it's like somebody was drafting a sentence and they kept sort of inserting things and crossing things out and then reinserting them. And so it ends up being sort of like a word cloud almost because there's been so many like changes along the way. So it's kind of hard to tell which of the words actually are supposed to be read in order to be the sentence, but it definitely begins with I. And there's an am, or maybe not. There's an un, or maybe not. There's a not. There's a dead. There's a god. And then at the end, it says obscured.
This is okay.
But so you could, if you sort of like start like looking at, well, what's the same size, and you're sort of getting like I am not a god, or maybe I am full stop. Like, it's really hard to tell sort of what they were trying to say.
And this is an Elvish?
Yes.
Okay.
And while Rhombus is peering at it, Illyra, it as the walls are actually they're pretty clean now, and the graffiti is actually pretty easy to read. And that handwriting, I mean, sort of like scratching in stone, but it looks similar to what you just saw on the bench. But it's not 100% that it's the same thing.
Where are you leading me?
So I have touched it. Does anything happen other than the fact that it's a little warm?
The touch, you think that was probably what tripped off it going all clean and it going easier to read.
Okay. And it's interesting that there's no sarcophagus in this space, because that would mean that either there was never one here to begin with, or somebody took the trouble to haul it out, which is odd.
I have heard of cases where they'll put the sarcophagus in the middle for a time, and then later on move it into an alcove or such like that. This may have absolutely nothing to do with here. I'm just saying it's
it's an interesting idea. Tap the floor in the middle. See if there's perhaps a tomb. Perhaps if they're buried in the floor. All
Not
right.
that you can tell.
Okay. Tap the walls. Nope, nothing. Okay. General investigation check.
I'm gonna throw one of those up too.
Yeah. 24. And
32.
Oh, the 30. So the 32. If you look like really, really hard, like you're going over every inch of like everywhere. You can finally find in this one little spot near the floor. It says, "Not a secret door."
Ah. Well, no need to check there, I guess.
Are there any cracks? No seams even. Okay, so
Nope.
So going gaseous won't help. All right.
I mean, it might.
I mean,
I mean,
I could.
you could take the graffiti at its word. Like,
I
right.
could.
I am.
Why would the graffiti lie to you?
Okay, I'm gonna try this, but someone is gonna have to slightly help some. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Open.
Open who?
Open sesame. And that just rings through the entire place as I cast my knock spell, hoping that it'll pop the door open.
No.
No.
The words have changed. It says, "Why would I lie to you?"
Why would
Fair.
you?
I'm judging that it was.
Well,
thumbs up.
Okay, so Illyra has like kind of stirred herself out of being contemplative, and she says, "All right, well, maybe I can be of some assistance." And she just shuts her eyes, and her shadow stops. Shadow cast by that light thing that you're holding stops reflecting her movement. In fact, it just starts moving on its own around her, and then it detaches from her. And then
She's the best of the shadow puppets.
yeah, she really is. And I'm going to instruct the shadow to look for another chamber, see if it can slip through stones.
So does it need to have joins between the stones to be able to go through, or does it just sort of phase through?
You know, I'm just going to look up specifically about how this would work. So let me get back to you on that.
Whatever the stone used to be, now it has been melted or magicked or whatever, so that it is like one just continuously smooth face all the way around everywhere.
So it's right.
Yeah.
It's not a secret door anymore.
I'm taking myself for not taking shape stone as one of my spells.
What
Um,
happens
Okay,
to a
so-
shadow in complete darkness?
Okay, so the shadow's not incorporeal, but it is amorphous, which allows it to squeeze through a space as narrow as, no, to move through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide without squeezing. So if there are any holes or gaps that are that small, it could fit through them.
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, you could send it, well, it would be outside in the sunlight, but you could send it like up.
Right. Well, it doesn't want
Stairs
to do
and then-
that,
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
The shadow doesn't like me any more than I do. Well, and it doesn't like the sun any more than Illyra does.
So
Does-
while that's
Does
It's short
Illyra's
of
shadow
breaking
look
the
like
wall.
Illyra? Is it Illyra shaped?
No.
Or is she...
No.
No.
I just
Yeah.
remembered
Not.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was thinking the same thing.
It is. Well, this particular one is a small kind of like humanoid shape with very long ears, not elvish ears.
Mhm,
Looks like a halfling or a gnome, in fact.
mhm. Okay.
A very cavalier looking one.
Yep. Still got
Mhm.
his. Okay.
Mhm. That's the one.
I lean down to the point where the graffiti appeared and say, "Leathers and feathers." Anything? No.
No.
Okay. It's just worth a shot.
If we really thought there was something behind here, I could smash the wall, but I thought Nessa would really be upset with me if I did that.
I think that I think that the text may have been what I was looking for here. I think that I've got something to continue to investigate after I'm done. So maybe we should go check the other two, or
Okay.
or let the other, or sorry, cut to the other half of the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna jump over to the other tomb.
Illyra's going to go up to the wall and just touch it. Go. Yes. Yes, you would. Anyway.
And when we get back down to the Lilendril tomb, let me know like what you decide to do. You're not going to be able to find anything more. So if you decide that you want to like check this, that, and the other before you leave, let me know. Or if you want to break a wall or whatever. But so think about that while I will have Shay go down into the other one. So this one is clearly a sort of family lineage, or the different Armenthors over time, because it has sort of a central passageway and then different rooms leading off to the side. And this is very much more sort of what Nissa was talking about, in that when there are sarcophaguses, they're open, there's nothing in them. There are rude drawings on the walls. There are carvings on the walls that show, people holding out blades, and there's sort of this sense that, their song has been rendered as sort of wavy lines that are twining out from them. So it's pretty, like, underneath all the grime and graffiti and all the crud.
Okay.
So they're at the end of the hallway. There's a full height carving of an elf who's clearly a blade singer, got the sword and the mouth open. And this one has got like the cracks. Looks like it would be door sized. But there's no handle or anything. But there are an awful lot of scratches from people who try to put like crowbars into the cracks. And it's got some like chips and all that. So clearly, like, people noticed this before and they had a goal, but they have not succeeded.
Okay.
Well, your dad looked like that. That's pretty cool.
I imagine so. You certainly deserve to be buried in a place like this, though, obviously. I would have rather not seen his belongings looted.
Did he teach you any of his blade songs?
No. I only got to know him much later in life. But there wasn't time.
That's too bad. I imagine
She'll
a
kind
blade
of-
song would sound really nice in here with the acoustics and all.
Perhaps. And she'll kind of reach up and just kind of gently touch the carving, the door carving. I wonder, would there have been a hidden latch, or would it have been a passphrase? She's just
Or
kind of musing to herself.
Or a past song if they're blade singers.
You actually might be onto something there. Now, I suppose it's a bit of a misnomer to think that, a misunderstanding at least, that blade singing involves actual singing. It's more of a,
Oh,
it's the sound that the blade makes that passes through the air. It resonates in such a way that it creates a vibration, an almost melodic sound that would kind of fill the air. But it's a beautiful thing to behold. They did a lot of dancing and very dance-like styles to the art, though.
well,
Still,
Aiden will pull out his rapier and he'll start dancing around and woo, 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 woo. Anything?
not
No.
quite.
Oh,
She
Where's
will,
the band does the saber dance on it.
She will actually draw her sword, though. Just kind of look at it for a moment. It's a rapier, kind of a very ornate silver basket hilt, with a very long, pale blade.
oh, nice.
This was his, though I'm not sure. Again, I never learned any of it, so I suppose it's kind of meaningless. Still, she'll kind of tap the blade to kind of like, just kind of knock it against the stone or something, just to kind of get the vibration going.
Does she get the kind of resonance? Of
It would have kind of a resonance to it for sure. The blade was definitely used a lot for that, so it's
So you hear something in the door, like kind of a like it hasn't quite triggered, but something is happening.
Ooh.
Well, now she'll I think she's gonna try to because that was a very gentle kind of like ringing. She might try to because she did see her father do the blade song once or twice, and she might try to replicate that clear, bright resonance that she heard whenever he would do it. Though I'm sure that will require a roll of some sort.
Yeah, I wonder what the best thing to roll would be. Performance? With that?
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
I mean, if you don't like it, just pitch me on something else, but that would be my impression.
Performance is perfect. That'll give me that's a 19 though. So
Whoa.
Nice.
Wow.
So you do it, and there's sort of a moment of silence following, like the tomb is sort of listening, and then clunk, and a handle comes down out of the wall.
Oh,
Well.
well done, Shay.
she'll sheath her sword and grab the handle and pull.
And the door swings slowly open. You do have to kind of drag it
Mhm.
because The there's a lot
Old
of crud on the
mechanism.
floor, old mechanism. It doesn't really come very easily, but it does
Yeah.
open. And so inside is one more room, and even more carvings, and just this beautifully carved sarcophagus with no lid. And there's no scent, there's no scratches on it or anything like that. So it doesn't seem like maybe the lid was even there. It's not like the other ones where the lid was taken off. So maybe this was waiting for somebody important who never was interred there. And in the center of the sarcophagus, there's dust, and there's sort of dust layers. So there was something there, and dust went on top of it, and then it was removed, and then more dust on top of that. But you can still see the sort of like negative space with lighter dust of what used to be there. And what used to be there were 3 swords.
All right.
But they are gone. So if you look farther, written, not scratched, but just sort of like scrawled with pencil, or whatever they had to hand, charcoal probably, scrawled in charcoal, is in Elvish. It says, the swords of the fallen cannot be passed on, but gods grant that they can at least be preserved.
Oh.
Aiden
Well,
doesn't read Elvish, so he says, "Oh, the 3
Well-
famous swords of the Blade Singers." There's 3 famous swords of the Blade Singers.
Shay will read that out aloud in common for
Oh.
her companion's benefit.
The 3
This-
famous blades of the fallen. That does not sound as good.
And
Who are
as
the-
you look farther, there's a hole at the top of the back of the room, and it's got sort of like a little bit of dirt and some sort of roots falling down into it. So clearly someone has dug in from above, and whatever ladder or rope or whatever they had, they've taken back up with them. But you can sort of see like scuff marks in the dust, that they couldn't get in the door, but they did break in knowing where this room was from above, and they removed the swords.
That's a pity.
Does-
Still,
Oh, I was going to say, does that mean something to you, the swords of the fallen?
not exactly.
Okay.
Though, if I had to guess, I would say that perhaps the swords of particularly important blade singers, perhaps bodies that they could not recover, so the swords were all they could inter. They did so to honor them. It's a pity that someone defiled this place.
Are you going to keep looking around?
Yeah, I think she will keep looking around. Although I think she'll touch the stone, this little sending stone that she was given, and relay that they did find a secret chamber. Though that even the secret chamber seems to have been looted, unfortunately. But it is certainly in far better condition than the rest of this place. So there might still be something of worth here. Knowledge, even just knowledge.
Crossing my mind, I'm responding back. Could they possibly have been moonblades? I'm not sure how we would tell that, but just as if they were, maybe they'd strike dead whoever tried to steal them. That'd be happy.
That would be happy.
Or worse, they didn't strike dead whoever tried to steal them.
Fair.
Be very unhappy.
Aiden could use his. You seem distressed that the sword was stolen. I can use my my tracking skills. I haven't used. They're a bit rusty, but I could try and glean something from the footsteps and such.
They are more than likely long gone by now. Look at
Okay.
the amount of dust in there.
All right.
It
On
could have.
On the floor, when you're looking around, on the floor you can find a pile of sort of what looks like leather, but immediately when you touch it, it starts to sort of decay away, and so you can't really see what it used to be. But if you sort of look at it carefully before you try to pick anything up, it looks like this was the sheath and sword belt and sort of all this sort of that kind of stuff. So you have the metal buckles and the rivets, and even though the leather is decaying from the 3 swords. So what it looks like tracking wise, Aiden, is that dust would have fallen after somebody came in, sort of had these swords that they'd rescued. They unsheathed them to sort of place them carefully in the sarcophagus, and they sort of set the sheaths aside. And then later, maybe centuries, who knows, somebody broke in from above, came in on kind of a rope ladder, walked over, grabbed the swords from the sarcophagus, left again, didn't even see or didn't even care about the sheath and all that kind of stuff. So if you look sort of within it, it was somebody who was of high rank, because there's some precious metal, some gold, some silver, maybe a stone or 2 that was decorating that. That's now, fallen apart into separate pieces because the leather is gone from between it.
I could attempt to, if there's any sort of writing on it or anything, or symbols, I could attempt to use mending to piece it together enough to read it, if that would help.
I'm not sure. It might be too far gone for that.
Okay.
Regardless, it's a pity, but fascinating all the same.
Aye. Is there anything else I can do to help you?
I think not. Perhaps we should go rejoin the others. I don't think there's much more left here.
Okay. Sounds good.
She'll start making her way out.
So over in the Lilendrill tomb, what have people been sort of doing in the interim?
I have gone back to the written words, and I try touching them. Does anything happen? If I touch them, can I drag them?
Oh, that's interesting.
Zoom in.
Because right, like can I rearrange the words? Can I rearrange it to say maybe I am not obscured?
Actually, so I will change what I said. The obscured, when you touch that one, it glows faintly. Doesn't move, but it does glow faintly. But then if you try to do it again, like it's not an on-off switch. Like it did it once to like tell you something, and then it's done.
Okay, I am on the right track. So I have something to follow up on. I definitely want to check out that statue at some point in the future, though probably not during this session.
Yeah, we got half an hour. It's too far to
Okay,
travel.
yeah, so all right.
Anybody else?
Well, breaking down a wall comes to mind. I'm just not sure how that would go over real big.
If Aiden arrives and they
so
describe what's going on. Okay.
Aiden and Shay, I'm going to stop you outside upstairs.
Okay.
I was just checking in that everybody had done what they wanted downstairs first.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I've done everything, poked and prodded everywhere I can, and can't come up with anything else to do.
I'm good, I think.
Ilora, how about you?
I am not certain. We should regroup with the others.
All right, let us go.
All right, go do that.
So as you are sort of gathering in front of the tombs, Nissa sees you and she waves, and then she comes back and she's starting to ask, oh, how was it? What's going on? And then, this is Eric's, I'm borrowing it, so thank you, Eric, and also thank you, the authors of this. In the air, there suddenly pops up something. So it is going to look psychedelic as far as the detect magic, because even people who don't have detect magic on, you see something in the air where it starts to kind of congeal and kind of glow, and then it's trying to like pull apart, but it's also kind of like sucking in, and it's making this weird kind of like buzzing, droning noise that like doesn't hurt, but you really don't want to be hearing it. And Nissa, her eyes go like really, really big, and she's like, oh no, it's a pulled thread. And she starts like flipping through her book to try to find out like what the heck she's supposed to do about it, but she can't find it. So she's like, no, no, this is dangerous. So what are people gonna try to do about this pulled thread?
Does it appear to be a creature?
No,
Is
it's something that the air, the kind of magical currents of the world are doing.
When she says a pulled thread, I'll try mending it, like I mend my cloak. I'll try mending on it. I'll try and mend it.
Okay. What's I could look it up, but you'll be faster. What school of magic is mending?
It is a transmutation.
Okay.
Oh, and I have to touch it. It's a touch spell, so
No.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, if you want to touch it, you're welcome to.
I'm gonna go ahead and say no, go away. Cast dispel magic.
I can't remember if you can cast through your mage hand.
If
It's
you're
Arcane trickster. only.
arcade trickster, you might be able to.
But no, I'm not. All right. Okay,
Okay.
so I start to go, oh, I'll try it. And he's like, no. Okay.
Is how big is it?
It is, let's say, sort of like it's not on the ground. It's kind of hovering up in the air a little bit, but it's about sort of 2.5 feet tall, kind of hovering, say, like 4 or 5 feet off the ground.
Okay. Unless anybody else wants. Does anybody else want to try anything first?
I tried dispel magic already, so
That's it.
Oh.
And
which is abjuration. Sorry, you were talking to Randy at the time.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
gotcha. Yeah, it didn't seem to do anything to it. It kind of like pulled it in and like kind of like started like chewing it up, and the magic is flaring, and it's
I figured it
acting
wouldn't
real
work, but I
weird.
had to try.
Good shot.
Ooh, pretty.
I will try casting. I will reach into my bag, pull out a crystal sphere, and throw it at it, and cast Autoluke's Resilient Sphere.
And what school is that?
That is Evocation.
Okay. It chews it up. And I'm gonna say that right now it's just affecting the magic, at least at first. So the sphere hits it, and it sort of pulls the magic out of it, and it seems like, oh, it's just gonna suck the magic out and then it'll fall. But then the sphere cracks, and then it falls. So it seems like whatever it's doing to the magic, it is starting to affect the people and material stuff as well.
Yeah, good thing you didn't touch it.
It just seems hungry. He pulls out some jerky out of his pouch and throws it in.
So I'm gonna ask everybody to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Ooh.
Okay. Ooh.
Not a good
Well,
one.
actually, wisdom's not bad for me. So let's see.
Oh, 19
Hmm.
on the die.
Oh my god, I'm rolling great tonight. 6.
Is this a charm effect?
It doesn't specify. I would think no.
Okay, then I got a 10.
Okay.
Is it a trap? I don't think so, but I'm just
No.
okay. 15.
Shay, did you say, or did I miss it?
I haven't said it yet. It's
Okay.
mine's 16.
Okay. So Aiden and Illyra, you feel a siren call that that they were onto something with casting spells at this thing. So what you really want to do is cast. Let's see. Cast your highest level spell, like on it, like just do it.
Whoa.
That'll help. Like that seems like totally the thing that's gonna help.
Okay, I cast enlarge.
What school?
That'd be transmutation as well. I mean, I could cast reduce, but I feel like the urge is to cast enlarge.
Okay, so Iller is not a spellcaster, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't know a couple of spells. So Iller is just going to walk up toward. It's a wall or like an item, right? Like a physical thing.
Well, so it's sort of it's a tear, kind of, is what it looks like, kind of in the air, floating there. So
Okay,
you've
yeah.
got kind of the up and down, and then it's flaring a bit to the sides.
Well, if I'm compelled, then I am gonna go and cast inflict wounds on it, which means I'm touching it and burning it with my spell scar.
Ah.
So that's a necromancy spell.
Ah, okay, interesting.
Mhm.
Let's see.
So let's see.
26 to hit.
It chews up that magic.
Right. Does it hurt me?
I'm gonna say no for now.
Does it start sucking the spell scar out of me?
Sure, yeah.
Oh shit.
Is that something Iller would want?
Probably. It's she's only been cursed for like a century now.
Wow. Okay. At that point, I think Shay will just be like, Illera, and she'll run up and like, not. And I don't know. if
I'm
she's
just gonna put my
rip
arm in
away.
it. Just you don't understand. It's so beautiful.
She's gonna like grab her around the waist and just try to like keep her from falling in at least. Just like pulling her back.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna try and escape from her grapple.
Oh dear. Okay. Are we doing opposed strength checks? Is that what we're doing now?
It's
Well, when you-
athletics versus acrobatics. I can do
Oh.
athletics or acrobatics. You have to do athletics.
We know how
Well,
this is going to turn out.
do we?
A flying
Not
tackle is
necessarily.
acrobatics.
Well, okay, it could, but
All right, rolling. Well, are you kidding me?
Almost
So-
burned the one F-bomb.
I almost.
it's getting
So,
late.
okay, I used the virtual dice in D&D Beyond,
Huh?
and it even did the die thing where it rolled onto a really great number and then
fell.
And then it-
teetered
Whoop.
1.
Yeah, I got a 20.
I ro-
Yeah,
I rolled-
Iller slips free.
Okay.
Jay breaks a finger. Yeah.
Okay, did my hand or arm suffer any damage from touching the thing?
I'm gonna say that it's like a little bit sort of like first degree burned, kind of in a weird like pattern. Like it was sort of like boiling energy around it, and it kind of touched in a few places, but not everywhere. And it's not too serious yet.
Okay, how big is this terror in reality? And can I fit through it? No,
Just
she's
going for-
she's
just going for
committed
the-
now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
She's like, this could be what I was looking for.
Okay, while they're fighting that, I'm going to go ahead and send an arcane eye, which is a divination spell, into it to see if I can see if it's a crack in reality or goes to another plane or what's going on with that.
So it chews it up. So
All right. Well, we're running out of we're running out of spell schools here.
well, I suddenly I'm like, shit, I thought that you did have some of the ones that it is.
Well, we've tried necromancy, evocation, abjuration, and divination.
Mhm.
So I will try a flaming spear.
We're also now trying elf sacrifice.
Don't.
I will
Look,
try.
stop
Oh,
her.
man.
Stop her.
Well, okay,
I'm
can
trying.
Why are you not stopping her?
She tried, she missed.
I'm the one
I'm-
being
I'm
compelled by
gonna-
magic here.
I'm
Right,
What do you
unclear
want
on
me to
like.
do?
I would like to
do-
cast
It's an
flaming
enchantment.
spear, which is a conjuration spell.
Ah, okay. I was like, shoot. If
That's
they
one thing
don't
I do
get-
not have.
If they don't
Conjuration.
get it before the, okay.
Before the what?
So the what happens is the sort of tear it starts to eat at that spell, but where before it was sort of like it was pulling apart and then it also was sort of sucking in, it sort of starts to eat at the spell, and then it sort of like it increases in sort of like the buzzing sound and whatever, and then it like and it's gone. So what the magic has sort of like mended that part of the weave, and so then it's just
Interesting.
and Nissa is sort of like shaking, and she's like, I found it. It says, run away and get the wizard.
You've got it. You've got PCs here.
I feel like just as it closed, Shay would have just straight up tackled.
Don't go with it.
I suspect this is for the best, but put my glove back on.
Could have taken you with it.
I suppose.
Short retirement.
Yes, we don't know the nature of that retirement.
Well, I'm told that when elves retire, they frequently diminish and then head off somewhere. Anyway.
Yes, but you've got centuries more in you yet. Don't go wandering off now.
I suppose.
Oh, you
Still.
two are adorable.
So, Nissa, now that we've had our little tour of the tombs, I believe you expressed an interest in having us do some more productive work, perhaps with the survey and the mythal. Or
Yes, let's not be by the tombs.
I
That's
like
fair.
this plan.
So
Okay.
she's gonna start leading you back, and as far as finding the mythal, what I thought I would do is it will be an investigation check, and the DC will go down if you have ideas for what it is, how you're going to go about it, but if you just want to be sort of like methodical, like walking along the ground, that kind of thing, you can just do the straight investigation check. So
Well, there's
I'm
that.
still.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'm still trying with my detect magic if I can see any kind of deviation where it really looks like on this side it's one thing and on that side it's the other. But I know shattering wise, there's going to be debris on both sides. So
Ooh.
But it would almost certainly be between here and the garden, right?
Well, I just rolled a
So-
nat 20 on my investigation.
I haven't even rolled investigation. Now that I think about it.
So that's a 21 for me.
Okay, I got a 30.
Good grief. 19.
Wow.
anybody else have a way that they're sort of like coming at it?
I was Aiden saw that elf in the funny blue shirt and khaki pants and was like sifting the dirt, and so he's going to use his mold earth to lift up 5 feet of dirt, and then he's going to have his pixies go underneath and like catch it as it rains down and run it through their fingers and look for anything, and then they fly back to him and like whoop! Each one's like so excited that they find something. He's like, no, that's just a rock. No, that's just a bit of root. No.
So what you're saying is you are using pixie sifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
To go through the pixie dust.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully something will stick, and then it'll be a pixie stick.
All right, so we'll
Lightning hits both of us.
so while we're walking, I look for any variation in the vegetation that might mark a buried, some buried stone that's just underneath the surface that would might demark the edge of a city, or perhaps a wall foundation,
Or something that was affected in its growth one way or the other.
sure, or just anything really. I mean, it could mean a lot of things, but so vegetation variations.
Cool. So Shay, Ilira, are you more focused on each other than on the? Oh, of course, you had your investigation check.
Yeah,
didn't you?
Shay is
Yeah.
actually looking around.
Okay.
She's looking for any particular signs. So
I
Ilira?
think Ilira is going to sit down and just be thoughtful and consider what might be going on. Maybe derive an insight about the situation.
oh, smart. I could have rolled insight, but
Play to your strengths.
I mean, I did get a 33, but you know, her insight is very high.
so is Shay's. My investigation is the bad one, and I nat 20. And so
Actually, no, that was me rolling deception. I still got a 30 though. Her insight is still pretty high.
Also, I have speak with animals. I could see if there's
Yeah.
any creatures around and ask if they've spotted anything.
yeah.
Okay, so basically what's going to happen is that you all sort of coalesce from the different directions. So there is a vegetation change where not as much is growing, and what's growing is kind of like low and kind of yellowish in kind of like a rough line. And if you look at the magic there, there's some on either side, but it's kind of like a rainbow spectrum where technically the wavelength of the light is changing continuously, but you sort of have this sense that like colors like shift. Like at one point it's, red, and then at one point it's orange, and it's continuous between, but actually when your eyes look at it, like there is a demarcation. So if you think about the magic as sort of this continuous variation from lots to a little, but there is this sort of like sense that like, okay, here, like there's a change, and it does line up with the vegetation. And then Shay, if you find a road and you sort of that where the there's that sort of pavement and nothing much is growing, and it's kind of a little bit cracked, but it hasn't been really sort of like grown over because it's the cracked the smooth magical pavement. If you look along the side of it, you eventually come to on either side gate posts. So this was clearly the edge of the city. Even if the wall is gone, there was a gate here where you entered. And so if you take all of those, you can get kind of a line in the ground.
Okay.
We point all this out to Nissa, and point out what we've seen, and say, would this be perhaps the edge that you were looking for?
This does look promising. So Yang Yang, I haven't asked for anything for a while, but the trowel picture, she has on her belt a trowel, not like a garden trowel where it's curved for digging, but more of a like mason's kind of flat trowel. And so she's going to take it out of her belt, and she's going to go in the line, and she's going to start sort of like scraping the soil away, and seeing if she can kind of get down and get underground a little bit, see what she can find. Aiden, did you want to dig over there with pixies?
Sure. Hi.
So what they find are little melted rocks.
Oh.
That like they're rocks that like you would find like everywhere around here, like just normally in the soil. But they're all like melted, like they were exposed to a volcano or like a lot of magic. And Meyer, when you look at that with your detect magic on, it like blows out your senses. Like that is so magical. It's like looking directly into an incandescent light bulb. So so you can if you guys want, you can expose more of them. You can find one of your very own. They're sort of all along here. But Nissa takes out a cloth bag and is like, this, thank you so much. I mean, now that we have the location, we can come back and do proper shovel probes. But I'll note down the provenience, which is the location information, and then we can take these back. And there's that moment where she's like, this is it. They found something kind of valuable. Are they going to take off with it, or are they going to give it to me? And she pulls out the bag.
The melted stones?
Yeah.
Oh,
they've got a lot of like magic in them because of the mythal like coming down on top of them, basically.
Aiden will take the one out of his mouth. Oh, it was tingly.
Oh, don't lick artifacts. Don't eat artifacts.
I don't feel as though we need to keep those.
No, not really.
That's I can only sell refined magic. I can't sell raw magic.
Well, does this do these tell us anything about the mythal though? Because I'm curious about a way maybe to how the mythal came down. How do you break through a mythal?
Well, I don't study magic. I was going to take these to our specialist wizards and see what traces the mythal left behind. I mean, I assume that it melted them in the act of its falling. But we'll see. But it's a great advance for our knowledge of magic. Just think, the lost secrets that made this mythal could be there in the residue in these melted rocks.
Ooh. Aye. Aiden does a sleight of hand 19 to slip one. He has his fair pixies just slip one under his cloak.
Yeah, she doesn't notice.
Okay.
Ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of them, right?
Here and there along the
Okay.
Yeah.
So she will look at each of you and say, thank you so much. You've been so helpful, and you got rid of that pulled thread, and we're so grateful. You have advanced the state of knowledge in archaeology, and please, if you want to come back and visit anytime, we will put you to work. But she has this all noted down in her book, and she like ties up the cloth bag, and then she's gonna go off and go back to Janhar and let her know. And so Nissa has gone off, and then now the rest of you are left to your own devices in Myth Drannor.
That'd be a perfect time to go dig up more if we wanted them.
I mean, yeah, that is true.
Well, I hear that archaeologists like to drink a lot and have fun because a lot of times they don't like each other and have to work together. And like we'll just party on the off hours. So I'll go see if there's like a party happening somewhere, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look around and see if there's anyone to talk to about other finds they've had that might do some magical research to it or anything that might further what I'm looking for.
I was actually going to accompany Nissa and see if she could point me in the direction of that statue. See if maybe a remove.
What could go wrong?
See if maybe a remove curse will help.
On your head be it. We'll send somebody down later to pick
negative
up the
wisdom adjustment,
Yeah,
I think
Ilra is interested in perhaps finding more of those cracks in reality, because getting rid of the spell scar seems like something that has never been a possibility, but maybe it is.
Who knows
Well,
after the second sundering?
yeah, I think, well, in that case, Shay will stick with Illyra, just because someone's got to keep her from falling in.
Jumping in.
Yeah, diving through.
At first.
Yeah. And if she dives through, someone's got to follow her, right? Like,
Yeah. This is like its own spin-off adventure right here.
right?
Cool. Well, you can definitely find a party, and you can probably talk them into letting you do dangerously things with the statue, and everybody is willing to like talk to you about what they're finding here, as long as you're not too obvious about your capitalism.
Again, I'm looking for how to raise money to give back to them to support them. Yeah, that's it.
How do you do, fellow comrades?
Got to pay for all this somehow.
So that's the end of our new survey of ancient Myth Drannor.
Yay!
Thank you
Nice.
all for
Well done.
coming on
Thank you.
archaeological adventure.
Yeah, it was fun.
So, Eric, talk about where we can find you, etc.
Okay, yeah, I'm Eric Scott DeB. I'm playing Illyra Nethlin, one of my long-time Forgotten Realms characters. You can find her in numerous books that I've written, and also on this game, because we have a lot of content from our past seasons, and she makes frequent appearances. You can find me at my, well, what used to be a very reliable Twitter account, but Twitter, well, isn't super reliable these days. I do have a website, ericscottdb.com, and send me a message. And I helped somebody find a piece of writing that I had posted 10 years ago, and they were like, the link doesn't work anymore because it was on Wizard's site. And I'm like, oh, all right, fine. So I pulled it out of my email from 10 years ago, and I'm like, here it is. So that's now on my website.
This is why it's
So
also
if you-
good to. Oh, yeah.
If you're looking for some new Shadowbane stuff, check my bibliography, because I just upgraded a couple of links. Anyway, and I had a book that came out this week called Femmes Fatale. I'm doing a couple of signings this weekend if you happen to be in the Seattle area, or you are an island person, because one of our signings is in Oak Harbor. So that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, that's me.
It's good to have a website because I mean, for some reason people aren't going to my MySpace or my GeoCities as much as they used to.
Yeah, I know.
You never
that's-
know when
Wow.
things change, but a
Yeah.
website is forever. So it's good to have
Have you
a
tried
website.
AOL?
Yeah. So it's good to have a website, folks.
It's all
Anyway.
about GeoCities. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. But hey, I'm Randy, author. You can find me on our Discord. Just you can chat with me there, and or on the various socials. I have a website, randy-anderson.com, that I haven't touched in a year. But now that Twitter's dying, maybe I will. And again, thank you to our sponsors, Norse Foundry, who make awesome heavy metal dice, norsefoundry.com, and to phoenixdice.com, who makes really beautiful dice out of recycled material. Phoenixdice.com. So check them out for all your dice needs, especially with the holidays coming up. Make great gifts. And thank you all so much. Thank you to everyone who subscribed or donated, and we love you all. Pretty appreciate it. Allie.
Yeah. Elf.
Yeah. Well, as I said at the top of the show, I'm Alexandra Pitchford. I am usually, I've actually seemed to be on more and more lately, but often I'm in the mods, doing the mod things, and I'm also a writer. In fact, I have a short story coming out in an anthology called Never Too Old to Save the World that should be officially be published in January, though I've heard that copies are already going out to Kickstarter backers.
Amazing.
The story is called The Sun Spear, and it actually features a character of mine called the Silver Sparrow, who also appears in our Great Mantle game. If you haven't checked that out, maybe you should.
Awesome.
And if you want to see more of her adventures, check out my Patreon, where I'm writing a serialized novella called The Phantomere Job, which centers on Sparrow. And the first chapter is free, so it's not hard to find. You can also find me on Twitter at Lexi Phoenix for now until the thing goes up in flames. So
Yeah.
I'm Doug Meyer, Meyer's Magical Market. Again, I travel to various Renaissance fairs, mostly small ones in the Midwest right now. Take my magical market there, and we, as I said before, we have magical items from across the multiverse. I guarantee you will find something you want to buy or your money back. So just feel free to come check us out. And I'm always, if you're looking for something and you don't know where to find it, let me know. I will at least give a good try among the various small artists I work with, various companies I work with, trying to find something. Everything from D&D dice to jewelry to foam weapons, the child safe type in this world, even if other worlds it's adamantine or mithril or such.
He wears his own stuff.
Yep, created these
that
myself.
headset.
Living billboard.
And you never know what other kind of things I might have, that the magic potions or some very nice mugs.
That's awesome. All right, everybody. I've been Joel Everett. I have 2 pyrotechnic shows coming up. One at the Rio, Washington on December 10th, and then Fireworks on the Beach in Avalon, New Jersey on New Year's Eve. Come check them out if you're in the area. They're both going to be good shows. And if you need something to get your Twitter, the fix you used to get from Twitter, come hang out on the Discord. Cool people talking about interesting things. Come hang out and chat with us. Rhiannon, back over to you to close us out.
Yeah. I've been Rhiannon Held. I write urban fantasy is Rhiannon Held. Space opera is RZ Held. If you like this whole kind of like doing archaeology in a fantasy world, but in a real archaeology way, because I'm a professional archaeologist, I will put the link in the chat. I wrote in my urban fantasy series, I have a separate novella. You don't have to have read the full series, where an archaeologist is doing archaeology of werewolves. So you can see that. So thank you all. And until next time, may your rolls and your word count be equally high.